I let TikTok decide my TBR and I regret it. You know what the plot is? Them trying to figure out how he's gonna get his inside of her, because he's 7'3" and he's a fucking dusk walker, so he's a big ass demon. He literally does not fit inside of her. There are 4 Fae princes in this castle, and I feel like she's gonna bang all 4 of them. Just saying, maybe there's a 5th one too. She might go with him too. I will fucking have a breakdown because it has been a goddamn struggle. I read the first 8 pages of this book, and when I tell you, I was like, I would have had more fun reading the dictionary. Hello from the future, my darlings. In March, I decided that I wanted to do a TikTok reading vlog as a sequel to my original TikTok reading vlog, which I did last summer, where I read the books on TikTok with like the most unhinged plots. Essentially, it was a monster romance reading vlog, and I was scrolling through TikTok then and specifically picking the books that I had the most interest in. Then I had the thought that it would be really fun to do a reading vlog where I read TikTok recommendations, but I have to read the books that are recommended to me, regardless of my interest level.
The dominoes cascaded in a line. What if I told you I'm stupid?
So that introduces us to this reading vlog where I tried to read the first 5 books that TikTok recommended to me. And as you will see, and as you can see by the very dramatic title of this video, which is only a slight exaggeration, it is an exaggeration, I still love reading, but besties, it didn't go well. It did not go well. I DNF'd almost every book that I picked up in this video, and I only finished one of them, so you should know that going in, but I have a lot of thoughts and opinions and feelings that you will be seeing as you watch this video. But here is the basic concept. I scrolled through TikTok, and the very first 5 books that were recommended to me are the ones that were added to the TBR for this video. I also eventually added a caveat in that for these first 5 books that are recommended to me, they could not be recommended by the author. And you'll see why I did that in this video. But without further ado, here is the first book that was recommended to me.
I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put the blame on me.
Here is the second book that was recommended to me.
I'm supposed to enjoy this, but still stand in God's light.
And here is the third.
The Nile is a river in Egypt. Your husband is gay.
Oh, Mickey, you're so fun.
The fourth. Fifth.
But then I found out that Mickey was gay. Oh, Mickey, you're so fun. Oh, Mickey, you're so fun.
And the bonus book that I replaced the first with.
All your needs will be met.
I'm hungry.
In a minute!
You are in for a ride, and I tell you, this reading vlog almost destroyed me, not just because of the books, and I want to clarify that. I do read a lot of books by indie authors and debut authors, and they can work really well. I think that for this specific video, I had a string of bad luck in getting books that I just was not interested in. As someone who is like writing first, for me, I love a book, and I have to love the writing. If I don't love the writing, I can't enjoy the story. I know that can come across as very pretentious, but it's just like people who are like, the plot needs to be there. The characters are my favorite thing. For me, it's the writing. The writing has to be there. And we just had a string of bad luck, which again, it's not to say the writing was bad. It was just not something that was to my taste. It wasn't what I was looking for. Just because I DNF these books doesn't mean that you're not going to enjoy them. And I'm very sad that the recommendations that were given to me in this video just did not work for me. I do have an almost 5-star read in this video, so I'm going to stop rambling and let's get into it. So as I mentioned in the intro, my goal is to know as little as possible about these books. So I've started with The Orc Commander. First impressions is that it took me a second to get used to the writing, because it's not, how to say this, it's not my personal preference for writing, and I can give you some examples that just make me laugh, but overall I think I'm going to enjoy the experience. And so far, the only thing that's happened is that our main female character got taken by an orc, and I'm assuming they're about to have some sexy times. I don't know anything about this book, so hopefully I'll have a more coherent update for you when I understand more of what's happening. I know they're in like this fantasy world where orcs and humans have been at war for a long time, and there is a greedy ass king, and both of our characters hate humans. So let's see where that goes. This is not a reading update and the sun is setting, so I apologize. I'm gonna have this weird lighting on me, but I've been thinking about like my vlogs, and I have been for a while, in that when I first started vlogging, like doing my reading vlogs, I showed you a lot more of my life, and I feel like recently I haven't. I've just been showing you reading with maybe a clip that's not reading, and I just want to kind of go back to showing you a little bit more of my life, being a little bit more open about what's on my mind. So I haven't read anymore since we last spoke, but I've been really struggling with anxiety for like the past week. Like my anxiety has been so high, like verge of panic high, and I don't know what it is. So the last time that happened was like 2 days ago, right? So 2 days ago, my anxiety is super high. I'm freaking the fuck out, but I think it's because I had coffee in the morning. I'm thinking, oh, coffee always makes me anxious. It's the coffee that's making me anxious. So today I haven't had any caffeine at all. I've had a pretty chill day, and I can still feel the anxiety going, and it's pretty high right now. Honestly, I can feel that it will eventually get to unbearable levels, but I'm hoping that I can sit down and journal and hopefully stop it before it boils over. But I want to be honest about that. And I'm also really struggling with apathy and just like feeling low. Like last week, there was a point in the night where I was just like crying. I don't know. I just felt sad, like so sad. And I wish I knew why I was feeling that way, but I could only describe to you that it feels like heavy, like devastation. That is what it feels like. I'm not telling you this for any reason other than I just want to be honest about what's on my mind, because I feel like I naturally film when I feel more like myself, which is pretty happy and bubbly, but I do also really struggle with anxiety. I have generalized anxiety disorder, and that does affect me and how I move through my life, and it's just been bad for this past while. So I am gonna sit down and journal, and this vlog will take the space of a couple of weeks at least, so you'll get a bunch of cohesive clips, but just wanted to let you know not why it's taking me longer to film this, because the time span doesn't exist for you, but I guess just to take down some of those walls and let you into my life a little bit more, and maybe I'll start showing you some more of my general day-to-day activities. But for now, I'll see you when I am done with Orc Commander, or when I have a 50% update of Orc Commander, which is not what it's called, but that's what I'm calling it. I don't know, feeling meh. Hello besties, it is the next day, and I'm here to tell you I am DNFing the Orc Commander book. I was being nice yesterday, and truthfully, after reading to like the 20% point, I realized it's not just me being a snob and disliking their writing. It's that this book needs to be edited. Grammar, punctuation, it's a mess. It is a mess. And the thing is, I can see the potential in the story about this fantasy world and this woman who ends up working with orcs and falling in love with the commander of the orc army. I can see the potential in that, but this is, it seems like, the first draft of this story, and it is completely unedited, and it felt, reading this book felt like trying to swim upstream, and that I wanted to get to the story, but I could not understand what the fuck was happening because the writing was not edited. It was so bad that I had to add a rule to this video that if the book that came to me on TikTok was being promoted by author of said book, it didn't count. as one of the first 5 books that TikTok recommended to me, because that is an ad and I am not here in this video to suffer. I want genuine recommendations that I think are going to work for me. So I spent a long time last night just kind of scrolling through TikTok. If I did get a video that was from an author advertising their own book, I read the first 3 pages of that book and determined whether or not it was something that would work for me. And in the end, I do have a new list of 5 books, and I'm giving myself the grace to DNF whatever it is that I want to DNF. But the good news is I do have the second book that I'm reading, which you would have already seen because Intro Me is filming this after this clip and she would already know what all the books are. So this book is, I'm forgetting the name of it, but it's so good so far. It's about this girl, right? She had a pretty chaotic upbringing. Her parents were alcoholics and her parents have lots of kids. Her siblings are a lot younger than her, and when she's away at college, she gets a call from her little brother who is 8 years old. He's barricaded himself in the nursery with their younger sisters, who's a toddler and a baby. And you can hear in the background that there's someone banging on the door, someone demanding drugs. Their parents are gone. They've been gone all weekend. They're completely alone. Turns out parents are up to some shit, okay? Dad has gone missing. They've been hooked on really heavy drugs. And our main character, I'm forgetting her name, something with a C. She ends up getting custody of her siblings when she is 21 years old. We are now 8 years in the future, and she is living in the town that they all grew up in. She is raising all 3 of her siblings, but she is struggling financially because, of course, trying to support 3 children. Her brother's a teenager now. Trying to support them on a single income is very, very difficult. She's struggling to keep up, and that introduces us to our hero. Our hero moved to the island a while ago. He has a very tragic backstory, and he is repairing his childhood family farm. And he realizes one day that the heroine is really struggling financially, and he's rich. He's hella rich, like more money than you could possibly think of. And he says, I'm going to hire her to be my personal chef, and I'm going to pay her $2,000 a week to make me my meals. And of course, that is a blessing. It is a love story. They're going to fall in love. He doesn't actually need a personal chef. He just wants to help her out, and he knows that she would never just accept the money. So he's created a job for her. So far, I'm absolutely loving it. It is a great time, and that is good news for me. It's about 300 pages, so I think that I will finish this up probably for the next couple of days, but I'm not rushing myself with any of these books. This vlog will go up when it goes up. Hello, I am on a walk, and I just want you to know that I'm fucking loving this book so much. Maybe TikTok does know me. I'm only like 30% of the way through because I'm just really enjoying it. Not really, it's because I'm actually really busy, but just know, love it. So I'm gonna give you my reading update. I'm like 35% through this book. Do you remember the title? No, but I'm 30% of the way through it. I'm still really, really, really loving it, but I put a pause on it because we just got introduced to this other character who I feel 70% sure is gonna be part of like the villains, I guess, of this story. It's hard to tell you without spoiling it. And our main character is so immediately trusting of him that I'm just like, huh? Girl, there's no way you're that easy to manipulate. There's no way. I hope that I'm wrong. But I had to put a pause on that because I was like, ooh, no. All right. So then I obviously am reading like 5 books for this vlog. So I'm just going to start book 2.
How am I supposed to enjoy this but still stand in God's light?
So book 2 is A Soul to Heal by Opal Rain. If you are new to my channel, I've read the previous 2 books in this series at the tail end of last year. I gave the first book 5 stars.
That is not correct.
and I gave the second book like 2.5 stars. So I'm very excited for the third book. I'm happy to tell you that I'm also 30% of the way through this book, but because this book is almost 600 pages, that means I've actually read 220 pages of this book so far. For all of the books in this vlog, my aim is to know as little as possible before going into it, but what I can tell you from what I know so far, we are following Kitty, as he's called at the beginning of the book, and Mayumi. And of course, it's this post-apocalyptic world. Demons invaded during like the Industrial Revolution, halted all of human progress, and there are demons and there are Duskwalkers. And Duskwalkers are like more intelligent versions of demons. They are bigger, and you can see the cover. They all roughly look like this, but they have different animal skull features. Mayumi was a demon hunter, and she is no longer doing that. She lives alone in the forest, and Mayumi is a
Self-proclaimed monster fucker.
yes. She very much has always wanted to be with a monster, to be with a demon. She feels she has some very, in her own words, strange desires that can only be satisfied by something that is not human. And then we have Kitty. And Kitty and Mayumi have a history because what happens essentially is that at the very beginning of this book, this is not a spoiler, it's literally the intro to this book, Mayumi is a small child. She is looking for her cat, and she is very sick. She is delirious with fever, but she's running through snow-covered woods where she accidentally runs into a Duskwalker. But she's 4 years old. She thinks it's her kitten. She runs up to the cat, who is not a cat. He is a Duskwalker demon, and the Duskwalker demon ends up taking her home and remembering her and feeling the need to protect her for the rest of her life. She is now in her late 20s. She's almost 30 years old. Like I said, she's living alone in this forest now, and Kitty has come back. Mayumi has been a demon hunter, so she recognizes that something is stalking her. So instead of being freaked out, my girl's like, oh my gosh, I remember you, and also I've always wanted to fuck a monster, so let's get into it. I will tell you is that there's no plot. The first 200 pages of this book, you know what the plot is? Them trying to figure out how he's gonna get his inside of her, because he's 7'3" and he's a fucking Duskwalker, so he's a big ass demon. He literally does not fit inside of her, and that is the plot of the first 30% of this book. It's these two trying to figure out how to have sex, because of course it's a romance. They're going to fall in love, all of the things, but I just wanted to give you that update for how I'm feeling. I am taking my time with this vlog. There are like 3 more books that, well, I DNF'd. So there's 2 more books that I want to read after that, but that's my initial thoughts for you on that book and my update for you on this book. Good morning. It is a few days later, and I need to give you an update. I did finish A Soul to Touch. I freaking loved it. I'm giving it 4.5 stars. This is an almost 600 page book, and when I tell you 400 at minimum of those 600 pages is pure porn, that's all that's happening. They're banging, hence the name, A Soul to Touch. I really did enjoy this, but what I do want to tell you is I understand the TikTok now of how can I stand in God's light and still enjoy this, or something along those lines. This is monster smut in the truest sense of the word monster. This, not even. Now, let me be clear.
Me trying to convince you this man is not an animal.
He has very human mannerisms. He's extremely intelligent. He is not the oldest of his siblings, but the most developed of his siblings. So he is able to think strategically. What I'm saying is that mentally, intellectually, he is human. The way he's able to carry conversations, his thoughts and feelings, his ability to process what is going on, his thoughts and opinions, the feelings that he has for Mayumi, our main character, all of that is very human. But this is a Duskwalker, besties. And this, if you're not familiar with monster romance, is not the book to start with. It's just not. It is monster romance in the truest sense of the word. There are definitely some scenes that I'm like, damn, that's a lot, even for me. And there are some things that Mayumi thinks that I'm like, bestie. You are a few steps away from bestiality. You are walking the line. But again, he has complete autonomy, human thoughts, extremely intelligent, very, very strategic, not the other thing, okay? I don't know how else to talk to you about this book, but it did make me cry. I loved it. I loved their relationship. I loved their dynamics. I loved how fun and easy this was to read. Great time. If you're familiar with monster romance, if you've read the first book in the series, go ahead and check this one out. That means that I moved on to my second TikTok book recommendation. I'm not going in order. I'm literally mood reading off of the videos that I've gotten. I'm still on pause with this book just because if romantic suspense is a thing, this is what this book is doing. So I just need a break. Plus, A Soul to Touch gave me a little bit of a book hangover. So I'm like, I just want to read more fantasy romance. And good for us, because there actually is another fantasy romance on here. This is Beyond, no, that's wrong. It's not Beyond the Ruby Veil. Bonded by Thorns. The book is right next to me, so you can let me know if I'm right. This book, I don't know what it's about, but you've seen the TikTok. So this one, I believe, is about a woman who gets taken by 4 fae creatures, 4 fae men, I don't know, and gets taken to their castle where they have like a big old library and lots of food. And she's like, this is great, but I gotta escape. That's all I know. As you know, I'm trying to know as little as possible when I go into these books. What I see in the TikTok is what I know. I am really enjoying it, even though I'm only like 5 pages in. And it's because our main character is a bookworm, very much giving me Beauty and the Beast vibes. So far, the thing that's happened is that she is at the bookstore that she works at and she is reading her book, and she just said something that I'm like, exactly, bestie, exactly. She's saying that she actually prefers the rain because she doesn't feel guilty for staying inside and just reading and staying away from everyone when the weather is rainy. So yeah, it's cute. I'll give you an update when I have more official thoughts on it. Y'all, I went to the mailbox to get this package and it was in there, but guess what else was in there? This one! I know what this one is from Bonfire, and I figured we can do a little opening together while I procrastinate and put off eating lunch because I don't feel like cooking. So let's open this, excuse the crinkling package. I'll mute that. I know what it is. Okay, you all know I live in oversized t-shirts, and that's because I have this thing where I don't like my clothes to touch me. Listen, if you get it, you get it. So I got this. Look at how cute this is. This is from Kayla Books and Lala's like merch, and she did a mood reader drop. I love it. It's so oversized, which is perfect. I'm going to be very, very comfortable in it. I'm chilling on my couch and I'm reading this book here. And I wanted to give you the update. This is definitely a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Parts of it, I was like, girl, your, what's his name? Gaston character is fucking toxic and abusive. It's a lot, just know that. You don't see anything, there's nothing graphic depicted, but you can just tell from their interactions that Gaston is the worst version of himself possible. And if you don't think that's possible, let me tell you, it is. So this, like I said, is definitely Beauty and the Beast. I've gotten to the castle scene at this point. I'm enjoying it, but it's kind of reading like Beauty and the Beast. When I read a retelling, I want a completely different spin on a story. I don't want to read the same story with characters for whom you just changed the name of. I don't think that's the case for this book. However, I'm very sure that this will go in a whole new direction because I think this is a Why Choose romance and there are already brothers in this. So we'll see where it goes. Plus the Beast, he is a beast, but he's also fae. And there's something about the Briar. So we'll see where it goes, but wanted to make sure I gave you my more fleshed out initial impressions. Wow, would you look at that? It's been even more days because this video is fucking hard. I let TikTok decide my TBR and I regret it because there's only 2 books that I've enjoyed out of the 5 books that have been recommended to me. So to give you the update, I am reading Bonded by Thorns, which has some level of intrigue to it because I feel like I know where this is gonna go, and I was right in my earlier assumption that this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but it's why choose, because there are 4 Fae princes in this castle, and I feel like she's gonna bang all 4 of them. Just saying, maybe there's a 5th one too. She might go with him too, which is fun and all, but I'm not loving it. And I wish I could tell you why I'm not loving it. I don't know why. I think it's me being peak mood reader and saying, you tell me I have to read a book, then it becomes the thing that I do not want to do. I also really want to get back to this book here, but it is, like I said, feeling a little bit like romantic suspense, and it's lightly triggering anxiety for me. So I'm just like, I just want the cozy, fluffy reads. But today I'm doing a 24-hour reading vlog. So tomorrow or the day after, I will resume. But because I haven't updated this vlog in a while, I wanted to give you the update for why it's taking so long and what my feelings are about this experiment so far. There's also this book that is on the TBR, which I haven't started yet, but I will tell you, besties, if I start it and I don't like it, I will DNF it, because this vlog is very, very close, very close to being not enjoyable for me. But the good news is I did love this book so much, but that's to be expected. It's the 3rd book in a series that I have already read and really enjoyed, so it makes sense that I would love the 3rd one. But anyway, that's the update for you. I'll see you when I see you. Hello. Wow, this vlog is going really, really great. It's April, which you should know already, but I'm DNFing this book. Listen, I was doing some reading last night and it reminded me of, this is what it's like to enjoy reading. So without shade to this book, it's not for me. I'm not in the mood for it right now. So I'm throwing that aside, and besties, I'm gonna get started on Crescent City.
Here, right here. All your needs will be met.
I'm hungry.
In a minute!
Because it was one of the first 5 books that TikTok recommended me. So I was never gonna read this book, but now I have to for this vlog. And she is really fucking big. Like, she's huge. So it's gonna take me quite a while to finish this. I don't know what this is about. We're following a half fae, half human, and that's all I need to know, honestly, because for this video, I'm going in wanting to know as little as possible. But the good news is, I mean, there's a lot of words per page, actually, so I'm a liar. The font isn't as tiny as it could be, but there's a lot of fucking words per page. One thing I know is that Miss Sarah J. Maas can fucking write. Like, goddamn, does this girl get paid by word count? So I'm going to start this, and the other book that I'm going to finish is this one. I just want to say, I'm so sorry. I feel like this vlog is fucking chaotic because just like my mental state and where I'm at, but also I don't like being told what to do. And that comes in with my reading as well. So the fact that I've set this parameter for myself, no one's willing but me, that I have to read the first 5 books that TikTok recommends to me, that is a struggle. I made an exception in reading a book whose author was the one promoting it. That doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean. The TikTok was by the author, which is why I picked this book up. Made an exception, and I should not have made an exception. So yeah, that's not to say that they're always bad, because indie authors are obviously just trying to find their footing in here. For some of them, it's their first book. Many debut novels are great. Like, you all know I love this series. We finished so far. There's more coming out this year. We finished that in this very video, and the very first book I read was because of Opal Rain's TikTok. So that's not always the case. It's just here in this video that we've had bad luck. So yes, I am DNFing yet another book. That's gonna have to be good enough, because if I try to force myself beyond that, bestie, I will fucking have a breakdown, because it has been a goddamn struggle. When I tell you I let TikTok decide my reading and it almost made me hate reading, it's only a slight exaggeration. Only a slight, because fucking slump. There has only been 2 stars for this video. Not 2 Starbucks, like 2 stars of the books that I've been selected, or the books that I've selected. And just gonna say, thank goodness for Opal Rain, because I could fall back on that book, and I fell back on it hard. I already miss them, so yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna need to sit down and read Crescent City, but I'm going to enjoy this little glimpse of sunshine. And the only thing I've done today was I walked to the gym and then I came home and I was like, wow, everyone is having so much fun because the windows are open. I can hear everyone playing in the park and getting ice cream and enjoying the weather. And I was like, I'm gonna throw on my hoodie and I'm going to distract myself with 6 hours of editing. And that's all that I'm going to do. That's my update. I don't want to make it, I don't know. I just want to be honest with you all because it's very easy to just like brush past this. And I want this to be more like lifestyle vlogs, like an opening of me. And I have been struggling, okay? Like February was fucking hard. March was fucking hard. Hopefully April is not going to be fucking hard because I'm tired of it. So I'll see you with a reading update. Wow, it's literally the end of the month, and the last clip was at the beginning of the month, right before I went on vacation. You'll be seeing those vacation vlogs soon, but I am back and I wanted to give you the final update as to where this vlog ended up going, which is nowhere. I honestly thought about scrapping this video, but honestly, I put myself through a lot trying to read those fucking books, and I had enough footage to create a decent sized vlog. So instead, I decided that I wanted to salvage it. So here is the outro. Here's what ended up happening. I never finished this book here, but I stand by what I said and that I really do like it. I love the writing. I love the story. I love the characters. Romantic suspense is a thing, and this book definitely falls into the romantic suspense category in my opinion. But the reason why I didn't finish it in this vlog is, as I mentioned and as you saw, I was struggling with anxiety, and I was specifically struggling with the fact that sitting down to read in this format was giving me anxiety. So forcing myself to read the books that I wasn't actually interested in made it so that whenever I picked up the book, it just made me feel my heart start racing and it made me feel anxious. I cannot read certain books when I am in an anxious mood, and the suspense element of this book, even though I loved it, just ended up triggering my anxiety, which is why I DNF'd it in this video. But I do have plans to finish it by the end of this month, which is literally a few days from now. But I'm in such a reading mood. I will be doing a March and April wrap up. So if you want to see my final thoughts on this book, apologies that it's not in this video. I just don't have time to finish this book before this video goes up. Then you can see my wrap up in a few days time for my final opinion. And then Crescent City was the book that I started when I finished the last clip in this video. Any SJM stands, leave the video. This is not for you. The TikTok that I watched that made it so that this book ended up on this list, the one that came across my For You page, was like, it's not boring, it's world building. I respectfully disagree. It's fucking boring. I read the first 8 pages of this book, and when I tell you, I was like, I would have had more fun reading the dictionary. That's exactly what it felt like. It's not world building, it's boring. As someone who does read a lot of fantasy, world building can be done well. World building where it's just info dumping is boring. It is literally reading a dictionary of the world. And I DNF'd it, which is not to say I'll never read it, because I own it and my goal is to read the books on my list, which is also not to say the book is bad, because I only read the first 8 pages. So there's no way for me to know if I will enjoy this book or not. Just know DNF'd it, because I was like, Your girl was already about to get into a reading slump. There was no fucking way that I was gonna try to read this book. So I DNF'd it. And then the final book was this one, which you would have seen in the intro, where I look exactly the same because I'm filming all clips today. I didn't even bother to get to. I had no interest, and as we already established, this video almost destroyed my love of reading, and I said I'm going to end it here. So I apologize for its chaotic nature. This is the truth of what the reading experiment was like, and it just taught me this kind of TBR doesn't work for me. Fun concept, loved the concept, loved putting it together. In practice, not for me. I cannot read in this way, and obviously you'll know that's how it turned out. But thank you so much for watching this video and for bearing with me through all of the chaos. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.